I don't suppose you could give me a sample of your brain tissue for study purposes.
Welcome to the Academy. We'll do things to your brain here for sure, like inflicting
terrible damage.
But first, let's have some cheese. This is a tutorial video on the 6-pool zergling rush, an excellent way to annoy an opponent by getting attacking units into the other base very quickly, but at the cost of sacrificing your economy a bit. The rush is called 6-pool because you build your spawning pool at 6 supply, and since you start with 6 drones, you build your spawning pool first before you build anything else. Here we are in Agria Valley. Water's burbling, monsters are chirping. Down south we can hear the sound of mental clashing of furious Terran industry. Almost sounds like Saruman. Up here in this more peaceful part of the valley, the quiet almost makes the path of genetic mutilation seem pleasant. As you can see, we are not spawning any drones yet. We're building up to 200 so that we can put down a spawning pool. Having done that, we'll now start 1 drone, and then a 2nd drone, but no more than 2 drones. That will take us to 7 of 10 supply. We need to save the other 3. As the drones continue to mine, they'll get to about 150 minerals right as the spawning pool finishes. And with 3 larvae, that will let us start 6 zerglings, since you get 2 zerglings per larva. We've rallied those south to the Terran base. This is a 2-player map, so we know where that base is. If it was a 4-player map, we'd want to have sent an overlord to one of the nearest bases and a scout to the other, in the hope we could tell where the Terrans were, since we don't have time to run all over the map looking while the Terran builds strength. If the Terran scouted us, the Terran would probably wall off really quickly, and we want to try to get down there before the Terran does that. Now we have 3 zerglings on the way. When those pop, they'll head south. At that point, a zerg player could build an overlord, then a queen, and try to make it into the mid-game. Could keep sending 2 zerglings at a time down to continue the harass. These zerglings could hit supply, either a pylon or a supply depot, and try to weaken the opposing player that way, or hit an army unit. But we're going to do something else. We're not only sending our zerglings, we're sending our workers too. This is an all-in. Everything we have is down there. There's not going to be anything left in the base. We either conquer or we die. There's not an army unit yet because the barracks just finished, so when we head in, we're going to ignore that, and we'll go ahead and ignore the supply also and just go straight to the middle line. The Terran could pull all the SCVs and attack us, and if all we'd sent was zerglings, we might be in trouble at that point. But the Terran just did something incredibly stupid. The Terran pulled 5 SCVs into the command center. That's a third of his force gone, not able to fight. The rest of the SCVs are running around in terror and confusion. This is almost embarrassing at this point for the Terran. Terran's build order here was pretty conventional. SCV, 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 supply depot 9. SCV, 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 barracks at 12. No wall off. SCV, supply depot at 13. SCV, SCV, and a gas at 15. Then a marine. Didn't get that marine out very quickly though. Then 3 SCVs on gas, and then alternating SCVs and marines. Terran's going to run out of money though here. We've picked off the SCVs. We're going to pick off the last of his units, and then have free reign on the base. Now, when we finish off this command center, the 5 SCVs inside will pop. We could ignore them, since all you need to do to win the game is take out the buildings. But we're not going to ignore them. In fact, we're going to take a break from attacking buildings to attack those SCVs. And you might ask why. The reason is because they're cowards. They abandoned their comrades and left their comrades to die alone, and we aren't going to let them pollute the air with the stench of their cowardly breath. So we'll finish them off, finish the building, wrap this up. Now, player 2 is not all that difficult to beat. Player 2 does have an odd sort of intelligence, perhaps not much of any at all. Rush may not work this well often, maybe more of a harassment tool, but it can be fun. Wow, this gives new meaning to all your base or belong to us. The important thing to remember is don't waste too much time on the ladder. Get out and get a life.